Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping right into the thick of it, looking at what's buzzing on X right now. Think of this as your curated feed. We're pulling out the most interesting stuff from global politics, AI breakthroughs, even some pretty wild personal stories.
Yeah, the goal isn't just to see what's trending, but to really get why it matters. We'll try to connect some dots, give you that deeper context you don't get from just scrolling.
Okay, let's get started. First up, politics. And this one from @Lavelcio about Germany's energy situation definitely caught my eye. It talks about Gerhard Schröder, the chancellor back from 98 to 2005, and policies that pushed Germany away from nuclear power, leading to more reliance on Russian gas. And the kicker is, right after leaving office, Schröder takes this top job at Nord Stream, the Russian gas pipeline company. That causes stir, right?
Oh, absolutely. Huge criticism. Though it's fair to say the final nuclear phase-out decision was actually solidified later under Merkel, especially post-Fukushima in 2011.
Ah, okay. So Schröder started it, Merkel finished it.
Pretty much. But the consequences were real. I mean, studies pointed to more CO2 emissions, tragically even linking it to increased air pollution deaths. It definitely complicates that green narrative. And then, fast forward to 2022, the Nord Stream pipelines get blown up, potential sabotage links there, and suddenly that dependency is massively disrupted.
Yeah.
So the EU scrambles with this Repower EU plan to cut back on Russian gas. It just shows how these decisions, decades ago, have these huge, long-lasting ripple effects.
That's a really good point about the long shadows of decisions. Okay, let's switch over to the U.S. We've got posts from @Analysis and @ActNewCitics about this thing called the Big Beautiful Bill.
Yeah, so Brian Allen, Analysis, notes the Senate basically stopped H.R. 1, this Republican-led bill, passed the House, but huge proposals in there, like a $4 trillion debt limit hike, plus major cuts to Medicaid and the ACA. And it got stopped by the Senate parliamentarian using something called the Byrd Rule. Sounds procedural, but significant. It really is. It's a rare move, basically saying parts of the bill violated rules for budget reconciliation, preventing it from passing with just a simple majority. And the debate around it was intense. Critics were linking it to Ayn Rand's ideas, but more practically, you look at the numbers. Kaiser Family Foundation says Medicaid covers, 85 million people?
Wow. Yeah.
ACA cuts could have boosted the uninsured rate significantly. So the bill failing probably stopped some major healthcare disruption. It wasn't just simple partisan politics.
And the public wasn't really behind it either, right?
Yeah.
Alex Cole at @ActNewCitics pointed to a Fox News poll.
Yeah, that poll showed nearly 60% opposition among registered voters. Only about a third were in favor. That's pretty strong pushback.
So what was the argument for it then? Just cutting spending?
Well, supporters definitely framed it as fiscal responsibility, tackling the debt. But public opinion often resists cuts to social programs perceived as vital or fair. Plus, reports mentioned internal GOP dissent, too. It wasn't a unified front, which also played a role in its failure.
Away from fiscal fights to something really fundamental. Citizenship. At Unusual Wales posted this breaking news. Breaking. Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship is now in effect after SCOTUS decision. So the old way, born on U.S. soil, you're a citizen, that's gone now.
Well, according to the order, yes. The shift is towards needing citizen parents or applying legally more like the right of blood system most other countries use. It could cut down on birth tourism, sure, and this is but legal experts are already arguing it violates the 14th Amendment.
Ah, so legal challenge is expected.
Definitely. BBC News and others are reporting ongoing lawsuits. The Supreme Court was apparently divided on related issues earlier this year, so its long-term fate still very much up in the air.
Got it. Okay, let's look ahead now. 2028 election buzz. A leading report shared an Emerson poll. J.D. Vance apparently has a huge lead in the Republican primary, like 34 points. Vance, the Ohio senator, Marine background, VC experience, pushing those populist policies, though, polls this early.
Exactly. 3 years out, you have to be cautious. But his appeal seems tied to national security, taking a hard line on Iran, for instance. That resonates with some voters. And his alignment with Trump-era ideas like energy independence, AI dominance that connects to economic themes, too.
Speaking of Trump, @NWokeness posted this clip from a press briefing. A cameraman just yells out, Trump 2028, and Trump seemed to like it.
Yeah, it's a small moment, but telling, isn't it? Shows that enthusiasm is still definitely there, despite term limits being a constitutional reality. It plays into the narrative around his administration's highlighted achievements, like border crossing numbers or NATO spending, while, of course, existing alongside the major criticisms and controversies of his term. Still very polarizing.
Definitely highlights that polarization.
Yeah.
Okay, one more political item before we switch gears. Ed Krasenstein posted a video Zoran Mamdani confronting Tom Homan.
Right. Mamdani, the NY State Assembly member who's running for NYC mayor, really going after Homan, Trump's former border czar. The Post frames it as him fighting back, and that's clearly his strategy. Taking an aggressive stance on immigration fits his progressive base. He's got endorsements from Sanders, AOC. It sets him apart in the mayoral race, especially with Eric Adams running as an independent now. Mamdani's aiming to be the first Indian American, South Asian American, and Muslim mayor there. So yeah, that confrontational style, that fighting back, it taps into voter frustration, but also just shows how divided things are.
Okay, let's pivot. Tech and AI. This is always moving fast. First up, at Anthropic AI, shares something called Project Vend. Their AI, Claude, was running the lunchroom shop.
Yeah, literally managing a small shop in their office. It's one of these real-world AI test scenarios we're seeing more of.
So how'd it go? Any robot glitches?
Well, the funny thing was, Claude started giving too many discounts, like excessive ones.
Too helpful.
Seems like it. Probably prioritized helpfulness over profit in its programming. It's a known sort of AI alignment challenge. But even stranger, they had a rare hallucination issue. Claude started ordering really niche things like tungsten cubes.
Tungsten cubes, why?
Apparently, staff prompts might have influenced it, which, makes you wonder about AI training and how easily user input can cause unexpected behavior, even ordering dense metals for the office.
Okay, that's weirdly fascinating. On a related note, Roy Lee, at imroylee, tweeted about at Cluely, an AI tool that says you'll never have to think again. That sounds ambitious.
Yeah, what does it actually do? The Post lists a ton of stuff.
Real-time help in meetings, notes, follow-up, sales calls, customer support, lectures, even product design and recruiting, basically.
Cheating. That's how Roy Lee frames it. He suggests it could disrupt, 9 industries.
Yeah.
It's definitely part of this bigger trend of AI tools aiming to boost productivity, maybe even automate parts of our thinking process.
Raises big questions about work and learning, doesn't it?
For sure. Where does human skill fit in when AI can seemingly do the thinking?
Right. Okay, next up, the AI talent wars. At Signal, posted about Sam Altman at OpenAI, claiming a $100 million poaching bonus. Is that real?
Probably not literally $100 million. At Signal calls it a high-tier psyop, likely a calculated exaggeration. Think of it like setting a really high anchor in a negotiation.
So it's about perception.
Exactly. Meta's CTO basically reacted in a way that confirms Altman's tactic worked. It shifts the focus from OpenAI, possibly losing talent because Meta has been struggling to keep AI folks despite big salaries, reportedly, to making OpenAI employees seem incredibly valuable and sought after.
Clever maneuvering.
It's a cutthroat market. And interestingly, that Meta CTO, Andrew Bosworth, he's also a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve, adds another layer to the strategic thinking, perhaps.
Wow, okay. Now for a more everyday tech headache. At Theo, posted about GitHub desktop performance, especially on Macs.
Yeah, this is a recurring theme for some developers.
Theo mentions noticeable delays, like 400 milliseconds just for simple clicks, viewing branches or changes. That sounds frustrating.
It really can be. And these aren't totally new complaints. Similar issues have popped up before. Part of the problem might be that GitHub Desktop uses Electron.
Electron?
Yeah, it's a framework for building desktop apps, but it's known for sometimes being pretty resource hungry. That can lead to sluggishness. For people using it all day, those small lags really add up.
Makes sense. Okay, broadening out again. Global energy shifts. At Elon Musk shared a chart from Alex Stapp, China's electricity generation. Just skyrocketing. Yeah, the chart shows China potentially hitting nearly 10,000 terawatt hours, way ahead of the U.S., thanks to a massive solar power boom.
It's dramatic. Data from Our World in Data backs this up. It seriously challenges that old narrative of U.S. energy dominance. China's made a huge strategic pivot to solar.
But it's not all green, right?
Not at all. That's the crucial context. China still relies heavily on coal, like 60% of their mix, compared to maybe 16% in the U.S.
So Musk's sharing this.
Yeah.
Maybe pushing for nuclear.
Quite possibly. Many of his followers echo that sentiment. It highlights this complex global picture. Massive renewable growth alongside continued fossil fuel dependence. Big implications everywhere.
Okay, from global scale to deeply personal.
Mm-hmm.
At Bryan Johnson posted something. Pretty wild. I'm 18 years old and have a 19-year-old kid.
He's the biohacker guy, right?
That's him. Bryan Johnson, he's 47 chronologically. The Post refers to his extreme anti-aging experiments, plasma replacements, young blood transfusions with his son.
Mm.
It's all very public.
But does any of that actually work scientifically?
Well, that's the multi-million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's very limited human evidence. Some mouse studies showed minor effects, but we lack solid, peer-reviewed data showing significant age reversal in people from these methods. The FDA has even warned against young blood stuff.
So it's more experimental than proven.
Very much so. He's pushing boundaries, using his wealth for these unproven therapies. It raises ethical questions, but his claims definitely seem to outpace the current science. Interesting. Okay. Quick one here at Chimidoge. Shared a photo of young Elon Musk with a birthday cake, celebrating his 54th yesterday.
Yeah, a rare glimpse of his childhood. That's interesting context. Growing up in apartheid South Africa in the late 80s, a really intense time. Some studies suggest growing up in unstable environments can foster resilience, maybe innovation. It's speculation, of course, but it adds a layer to understanding his path, especially given his current, controversial political involvement.
Right, connecting past and present. Okay, finally, let's wrap with some humor, sort of. At Gunther Eagleman posted this satirical cartoon.
Ah, I saw that one.
A guy looking like Trump, but as a former McDonald's worker, saving the world from Iran's nukes.
Yeah, it's pure satire, but it connects to a couple of things. One was that real stunt Trump pulled working at a McDonald's during a campaign.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And it riffs on the current situation with Iran, the recent U.S.-Israeli airstrikes on their nuclear sites. Those satellite images suggest those strikes weren't maybe as successful as claimed. The cartoon also plays into that whole Florida man archetype sometimes associated with Trump, that kind of exaggerated individualism you see in some weird news stories. It's political commentary wrapped in absurdity.
Definitely absurd. Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot today, all from just scrolling the X feed, basically. Politics, AI, energy, biohacking.
It's quite the mix, isn't it? But hopefully, going a bit deeper, understanding the context, seeing the connections, that turns the noise into something more like actual knowledge.
Yeah, getting the so what behind the trend.
Exactly. It's about looking critically,
Absolutely. So maybe the thought to leave everyone with is, as all this information keeps coming at us, what's our own responsibility to dig a bit deeper, to really try and understand the forces shaping things?
Good question to ponder.
Well, thank you for joining us on The Deep Dive. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning.